Welcome to this video where I'll explain in details the answers of the previous video's exercises. This recap exercise is very important. You need to feel comfortable with everything we've studied so far, so be sure to do them thoroughly. So here are the exercises we're going to explain in this video, so you can try to redo it before watching this video. Anyway, good luck and let's get started. やっぱりこの仕事はもう嫌だ。So やっぱり I knew it. It didn't change. I knew it. 嫌だ is an expression that you should remember because it's very commonly used. So literally it's an adjective that means unpleasant for me, disagreeable for me. So it kind of means a no-go. Like for me, this is a no-go. And this is why you can translate it by I can't stand. Then you have more, so more plus negation means not anymore. So here you don't have a negation per se, but since ia is a word that is kind of negative, like nothing in English, you see, you can translate it by anymore here. やっぱり I knew it. この仕事はもう嫌だ. I can't stand this job anymore. Literally, it would mean this job is a no-go for me. If your brain has gotten used to Japanese syntax, that is to say, the fact that the main clause is always at the end, then you should be able to translate the sentence in one go. Don't forget that to get used to it, you have to listen to the extracts we translate again and again until it becomes natural for your brain. On the opposite, if the sentence makes you confused, it means that your brain is not ready yet. Then you will have to spot the clauses. So to spot them, you have to underline the verbs. Here you have 働く and ひどくない. So when I say the verbs, of course, if an adjective closes the sentence or a clause, it is just like a verb. It works as a verb. By the way, here it's ひどくない, not ひどいじゃない. So you do have a true negation and a true question. You then have to translate it by isn't it horrible? ひどくない? Isn't it horrible? Okay, let's go back to our clauses. You have two clauses here because you have two verbs. And indeed, you have nante after a verb, which confirms that you have a main clause and another clause. So first, you translate the main clause, isn't it horrible? And then the clause with nante will indicate what is horrible. So you translate the second clause, isn't it horrible, to also work on Sundays. And remember, nante is used to give such a thing nuance. So that sentence means something like, isn't such a thing horrible? Such a thing being the fact that you have to work on Sundays too. So basically, if you have this pattern in English, main clause plus another clause answering the question what or how, it will always be inverted in Japanese, so it will follow this pattern. The clause that will answer the questions what or how plus the main clause. In one word, when a clause is directly linked to another clause, it will always be inverted in English. You have a clause that is the big bus, the locomotive, and another clause that is here to directly complete the main clause. And this is why it answers the questions what or how. 前の仕事も辛かったんだ. So 前の仕事も my previous job too. 辛かった was tough with the past tense on an I adjective. 辛い、辛かった. And then you have んだ that will add an explanatory feel to the sentence. He explains his friend that his previous job was tough too. If you didn't want to give it an explanatory feeling, you would just have 前の仕事も辛かった and that's it. 田舎の仕事は辛いね. So, jobs in the countryside, jobs of the countryside, 辛いね are tough, huh? And so here, remember, you can't say 辛いだね. It's impossible. It's an adjective, so never add da after it. We could say 嫌だ. This is possible because 嫌 is an adjective, but 辛いだ is impossible. Either it's polite and then you say 辛いです. Either you just say 辛い. じゃあ、町に住んでみたら? So this is kind of an expression. 住んでみたら, you have a combination between てみる, to try to, and たら that you can translate by if or when. So here it will be an if. So literally it would mean if you try to and with a question. So it would be something like じゃあ well then 町に住んでみたら if you try to live in a city. And so the meaning of this てみたら is why not trying to? How about So well then, why not trying to live in a city? So you see, even if you translate it literally, you might understand what it means. But you can learn this expression by itself, even if it's just a combination, because it's used quite often when you want to kind of suggest something to someone. So why not trying to? So of course, when you have a verb that is a bit complicated because you have many things adding up on the verb, you see here you have てみる plus たら. Be sure to translate every conjugation, okay? Translate the たら and translate the てみる. Because once again, of course, every expression that we are learning, you can conjugate them to any tense. So, てみる, you can conjugate it. てみる, てみます, てみません, てみた, てみたら, てみてて, てみていて, etc., etc. You see? いい仕事があるよ. So, there are good jobs. And the maybe you can translate it by, you know. There are good jobs, you know. 生活費が高いじゃん. 無理. So here is just a XYY structure. It's just that instead of having a wa, you have a ga for a reason that we haven't studied yet. Whatever. And of course, after the taka, you don't have des because it's in casual speech. You do have a jam though, but I'd rather not underline it as a des because as we've studied it, it's not an actual des per se. So, 生活費が高い. Living expenses are expensive. And then you have the nuance that Jian adds. That is very difficult to translate. You can just say, you do know that living expenses are expensive. So this Jian in semi-polite speech would be janai desu ka? Or it could even be janai. Remember, that is the contraction of janai. And then muri. So muri is also an adjective that basically means impossible. But it's a common way to say no way. Muri. No way. And so here, since it's an adjective, you could have muri da. But here the da is omitted for reasons that we started to explain in the videos. You can use da or omit it. It's up to you. It depends on how exactly you want to convey what you are saying. Here, once again, you have a clause with nante. So, same thing. First, the main clause. Don't say. And then the clause with nante will answer the question what? With a such a thing nuance. So, don't say what. Don't say such a thing being the clause with nante. So let's translate the nante clause. You have no ho ga Remember, it's used to indicate the winner of a comparison. You have two things that are tsurai, hard, and inaka wins it. So the countryside is harder, is tougher. We then have, well then, don't say that the countryside is tougher. So we'll stop here because maybe this video will have helped you, and it's very important that you try your best with these exercises. If you manage to figure it out by yourself, then you will improve a lot. So try to redo the other exercises. If you were confused with some sentences that you didn't manage to translate correctly, maybe now you'll be able to deal with them. I'll make few videos like this one until we've dealt with every exercise, and then we'll go back to translating the extracts.